Hello and welcome everyone to the first episode of the AV Exchange presented by Starin. I'm your host, Joe Dunbar. Really excited to have you all with us today. It looks like I got an eye on the lobby over here. We've got a couple of people piling in already, which I really appreciate you guys jumping in and sharing some time with us. Super excited. If you've been with us for our town halls before, then you're going to be somewhat familiar with the layout and kind of conversation, but we have updated the look and the feel and the format a little bit to really kind of drive engagement. So please, strap in and get ready to chat with us. We've got the team from Inogeni here, which I'm really excited about. Before we get into things with them, I will do a quick agenda rundown. We're going to meet the team from Inogeni. We've got a few of those folks here with us. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Inogeni, the company. If you're not familiar with them, this is a great place to get familiar with them. I just launched a poll real quick. We just want to know if you are willing to share with us how familiar you are with Inogeni. If this is your first time talking about Inogeni or if you've used the products before, definitely check in there and let us know. And also who we're talking to. Are you an end user? Are you a systems integrator? That really helps us kind of steer and drive the conversation so that we're not talking over or under your heads. So take a minute to participate in that if you can. A couple of products I know they're going to touch on. I'm worried this one's going to swallow the whole conversation, but if it does, that's a great thing. The toggle rooms. Super excited about that product. Very versatile. I won't get into it right now because I won't stop. I know we also are probably going to talk about the Share 2U, the UBRIDGE, Cam 230, some of the camera switching solutions that Inogeni is known for. Before we jump into some of that stuff, I do want to do some quick housekeeping. In the Zoom webinar, there is a Q&A section and there is a chat section. Please use the chat for your general comments. One thing that I always ask everyone for is sound off. Let us know where you're calling in from. I'm here in a unusually overcast day outside of Phoenix, Arizona. We've got people joining from all over the world, so please let us know where you're coming in from. The Q&A section is specific for questions that are for the Inogeni team, to the topics they're talking about, products you want to know about, things like that. That helps us keep those things organized. So please be mindful to use those sections. We've already talked about the polls. You guys have done a great job checking in with that, so I really appreciate it. And please, I always forget this part, so I'm glad we have it in here. Stick around for the whole section. We have a giveaway that goes on at the end. We're going to be giving away a $50 Amazon gift card. So you definitely could win that, and just a little appreciation for your time. So we'll get that out to you guys. And, with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the team from Inogeni on the screen. Welcome, everybody. We've got a couple of you guys in the house. I know Mats, JP, and Ryan. Why don't we take a minute to have you guys introduce yourselves? And let's kick it off with you, Mats, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
Well,
Hi,
thanks so much
everyone.
for being
Mats
here.
Bergqvist, US Sales Director for Inogeni. You can say Inogeni or you can say Inogeni. And I'm located in California, outside San Francisco. And I just want to say, number one, start to thank Starin to create this webinar. We're very excited. Starin is absolutely one of our top distributors where we sell our product through.
Thanks so much for joining us, Mats. Mats helps us out a ton on our end. So if you're talking to us and we're talking to Inogeni, it probably starts with him. JP, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm the CMO, so responsible for marketing in Quebec City, the headquarters. We are a Canadian company, so really pleased to be here and talk about our product and partnership with Starin. So, and thanks again to be here and stimulate all of this exciting news around this new products and new innovation that we bring out.
Awesome. And Ryan, if you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan, I'm the U.S. Technical Sales Director here within Inogeni. Been in the industry for about 25 years. And why I mention that is because a lot of you are probably technical folks that need help with designing and figuring out where our product fits in with your systems. I'm here as a resource to you guys, so I really appreciate Starin coordinating this webinar today, and looking forward to chatting with you guys and helping you learn where our products are a fit.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Quick reminder to everyone in the audience, if you've got questions, they go in the Q&A. If you've got chat, comments, just general stuff, go ahead and keep that in the chat section. So let's kind of dive into the topics. And again, to the audience, if you've got questions, put them in the Q&A and we will insert them into the conversation. So stick around and you'll see those get answered. Let's I mean, my first question is really about, if you can give us a brief introduction about Inogeni, the company, and a little bit behind kind of how you got started and how we got here.
What I can say, it's more than 15 years ago, the founder, Jean-Pierre, start with some other colleagues, a new business. And it was after more than 10, maybe 15 years also of engineering development in the broadcast industry, like Matrox in Montreal, some other big brand there. So it's a part of their DNA, to think about high quality and no downtime. You know how in the broadcast, the downtime, it's critical. You cannot survive if your product works not all the time. So it start with this value and develop solutions for different manufacturers worldwide. He also developed the technologies to re-implement capture cards to go from the HDMI, SDI to USB, USB 2, and after that USB 3. And he decided around 5 years ago, 6 years ago, to develop a new company named Inogeni and develop a product itself to sell it to the market. So he start with converters. He start after that and developed the first mixers, HDMI mixers that go to USB in just one single flow of video. So it's the way they develop new product line that we will showcase to you what is the most recent one. And so it's why what we do, it's based on quality, on compatibility, because working with different manufacturers worldwide and involve also the compatibility, the interoperability between equipments, between cameras, codecs, systems, etc. So it's a part of our value to have a robust and reliable product.
Integration is really the name of the game, right? That's what I love it.
Absolutely, exactly. Maybe Ryan, if you want to go on the next slide, talking about where we are a bit in the ecosystem. Is it? Can I? Okay, yes, perfect.
Yeah.
So we are between cameras and codecs or laptop because we transfer the signal for USB. And on the next slide, you can see the different product categories. So we have mixers, selector, switchers for multi-camera application, really popular for large room. You know how it's important to recognize the people, not like small in the screen, but really well see the different angle in a large room, like the presenter, the audience, but also in a classroom, they need multiple cameras for high flex applications. So we have video captures for different format. The switch, really popular toggle switchers from PCs to PCs or laptop. Another kind of converter that's a USB to HDMI and extender. So I don't want to go here in full details, but it's a bit our big product category here. And I think maybe you can switch on the other slide, on the other one. So the partnership, it's important for us. So we start many years ago talking with Poly or Jabra or Hudley, and be sure our product are going to be well compatible. But also when Cisco call us and they need our product for to be able to enable BYOM in their system, we tweak a bit our product to be sure it will work well with Cisco equipment, and it's why we implement and launch the 4KX Plus to enable BYOM and the toggle success and some other product success push manufacturers to now call us. They want to be compatible with our technology. So it's going in both sides. Our engineering and their engineering, they talk together every week or months to be sure we stay compatible with previous product new products or upcoming product that will be launched in the next few months or the year. So because at the end, what everybody wants is something simple to design and integrate. And when the installer will install the product, it will not have any drivers to install. Just plug and play. Because if the integrators plan one day to install 5 rooms, it needs to be done in the day. That's it. No problems. When
That
you
is for sure.
install, it needs to follow the plan. If not, you just eat your margin. So for us, robustness and easy to install, it's also very, very important.
Awesome. Really appreciate that. I can attest personally to the partnerships and the importance of that. I know interoperability is not really a problem and definitely a big focus for Inogeni, but particularly with the partnerships, which is really what we're here to drive, right? We are here to connect our audience and partners with our manufacturers, which is basically our role as a distributor. So, Ryan, if it's all right with you, I really want to dive into some hardware. If we've got some time
let's do
for
it.
that.
Yeah, let's do it. I mentioned earlier, with 25 years of experience in the industry, a lot of that was on the integration side. So 22 years out in the field, installing, programming, designing, and engineering systems. And one of the things that's great about Inogeni is, our product is really well thought out in terms of integrating our product. So we've got a lot of control options. We've got the ability to tie our systems into Crestron, Extron, AMX, QSys, all of those systems that are out there on the market. We have platforms or we support those platforms. So whether it's IP control or custom API, we can do custom APIs for people for specific features that our product supports. But we've got a lot of capabilities in that arena. So that really makes us a product that's unique and makes us stand out from some of the other product that's out there on the market. We've got the ability to do pass-through for USB commands, for instance, for pan, tilt, and zoom when you're in a Zoom call, things like that just really kind of set us apart and make us stand out from the crowd out there in the market in terms of what we do. So, obviously one of the big challenges that you guys are probably familiar with out in the market today is the USB 3.0. Extending that USB 3.0 signal can be very expensive. That it's very, bulky today, the solutions are. So all of our product for integration purposes was designed around MJPEG. So MJPEG allows us to use minimal compression, high quality signal, 1080p 30 for most applications for video conferencing. So you're getting a high quality signal from our product into your Zoom call or your Teams call or your WebEx. So that's really important to us, is making sure that you can still get that high quality signal. But from a cost perspective, you're not having to deploy a USB 3.0 extension on every project. We do have some USB 3.0 product in terms of extension that's kind of a little bit further out on the horizon. But today we support USB 2.0 on most of our product, and we're able to do that through that MJPEG compression. So that kind of sets us apart and makes us a little bit unique as well.
This is the one I feel like we probably are going to spend a decent amount of time talking about today, is the toggle, which I know, offers all kinds of simplicity and allows us to take some kind of complex solutions and put them into a simple, easy to use process for the end user so they can sit down and easily access whatever platform they need to access within a room. So can you just speak a little bit for those of us? It looks like, based on the poll, right, we've got a lot of people in here. 50% of the folks in here are somewhat familiar with Inogeni. So it looks like they've got have some experience with some of the solutions in the past. Obviously, the toggle switchers has some new products in the lineup. So why don't you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, absolutely. The toggle is arguably our most popular product. The original toggle came out pre-pandemic, but just really took off because of the need to be able to support multiple platforms in a conference room. So if you come in with your laptop and you've got a dedicated Teams or Zoom room, you can utilize our toggle to be able to connect your laptop to do BYOM. And most people know, but BYOM in our definition is using your laptop to host the meeting. So you can walk in, plug in your laptop, it automatically detects your laptop, switches all of the peripherals over to that laptop so that you can use the in-room peripherals to do your call. But also when you're done, you disconnect and everything switches back over to that toggle. So this is kind of a diagram that explains how that works. It's a very popular product. Again, arguably our most popular product and where most people know us from. But because of the popularity of the toggle product, we really saw a need in the market to be able to expand that. Obviously, one thing that was missing from the original toggle is HDMI switching. So with our new toggle rooms, we have that. Also charging. When you walk into a conference room, you want a clean tabletop. You don't want to have to mess with a bunch of different cables and fiddle around to try to find, the connections to make your meeting happen. You want to be able to walk in and just plug in a single cable if necessary and make that happen. So, while I've got this slide up, I will highlight our partnership with Barco. That's been a real popular thing for us. Starin is a Barco partner as well. So we appreciate that. We're grateful for that partnership that we have with Barco. The original toggle works great with the Barco ClickShare, and so does Toggle Rooms. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to that section. But some great use cases and great applications for that toggle product. As you mentioned, obviously what we're really excited about is the Toggle Rooms system. The Toggle Rooms Best of Show and also Best of Show from AV Technology and Sound and Video Contractor at ISE. We're really excited about this product. But kind of explain some of the caveats or the nuances to BYOD and BYOM, and where Toggle Rooms really comes in and helps solve some of those problems. So with Toggle Rooms, you can bring in your laptop. If you've got an existing Teams or Zoom room, you can obviously walk in and just use that room the way it is. If you want to share content, when you connect up your laptop, the content from your laptop immediately becomes available to that room PC that's running Teams or Zoom. So you can share that content very easily. What we've done with the toggle, however, is either through a button that we sell, which is optional. It's about $150 MSRP. Either with that button or controlled from a control system like QSys, Crestron, et cetera, you're able to, quote, toggle between the different modes. So you can toggle between BYOD, which is bring your own device and sharing your content, to BYOM, which is now using your laptop to host the meeting. So that's really important because you need to be able to have the flexibility, but also the simplicity to be able to walk in, plug in your laptop, and be able to execute what you need to do very quickly and efficiently. Want to highlight just another application that people have talked about with us quite a bit, and they've asked for it, which is having two laptops in a room. So Toggle Rooms also supports two laptops. If you don't have an in-room PC like a Teams or a Zoom room, you've got in-room peripherals like a camera or microphone or a DSP. You can utilize Toggle Rooms to switch between two different laptops in that room as well, either sharing content or obviously hosting a meeting. So a couple different use cases for that and how that might be applicable to you, but a great application to think of and keep in mind. Obviously with Toggle Rooms, we're compatible with all the different UC environments that are out there, Teams, Zoom, WebEx, Google Meet, et cetera. And we work very closely with a lot of manufacturers to make sure that our products are compatible. So we're on pretty regular calls with Poly, Logitech, Crestron, Lenovo, and MaxHub to ensure that our product meets their specifications and meets their needs and is also compatible. So very important that we make sure that is, that's up to date, ready to go. The other thing I'll mention while I'm on this slide is obviously with Toggle Rooms, everything in our product line is designed and manufactured in Canada. And so TAA compliance is very important for a lot of people, especially when you're considering or using these product for government applications. So TAA compliance is really important for us. This is a great
Ryan, I'm going to jump in on you one sec. You were talking about the brands that you work with, and somebody from the audience asked, they're wondering what the options are if Inogeni isn't already working. You mentioned all these partners that you're working with. What are the options if Inogeni isn't working with a partner? Are you guys open to new relationships?
Absolutely.
And what do we do to engage with that?
Yeah, so reach out to either Mats or myself. We can put you in touch with our product manager, Jerome, who's up in Quebec City. And we have conversations like that regularly. So we're happy to engage. We want to make sure that the product is tested. So, if you've got a manufacturer that's currently not on this list or, on the website, definitely reach out to us. We can coordinate with that manufacturer, get in touch with them, ensure that we have product, that they have our product. And then we work very closely with them to test and make sure that everything works the way that it should.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if you can pull up this next slide is basically an illustration that shows how Toggle Rooms works. You've kind of got the idea, but this is just great to illustrate that point and drive that home. You walk into a room that has a dedicated touch panel for Teams or Zoom, maybe an in-room PC. You walk in with your laptop and you plug in your laptop. One thing that's unique about Toggle Rooms is that we provide 100 watts of power charging. And that's really important because with some solutions on the market, they only offer 60 watts. 60 watts is okay for maintaining a charge for your laptop, but if you're a power user, you've got a lot of applications open, you're doing a lot, which a lot of us do. 60 watts is, enough to maintain it, but it doesn't provide enough power to charge your device. With Toggle Rooms, you can use that single cable with USB-C to plug in your device and power your device and charge it up to 100 watts.
That 100 watts is important. We're starting to see more and more devices carrying power and all sorts of information over USB-C. So you can certainly expect that the power requirements to increase. So
absolutely. Yeah, very important. Next, I'll just bring up our button that I mentioned earlier. This is a great little accessory to add onto your Toggle Room solution. $150 US. It's a billet aluminum, very, very nicely manufactured and anodized. But a really simple solution because a lot of people, control systems are great and they definitely have a place, but some people are just looking for that button that they can just press and control that room and be able to execute what they need, very quickly and efficiently. So the toggle button allows you to do that. Very easy to install with a 2-inch hole saw, drill a hole in the table for the customer, drop that in. Our Toggle Rooms product supports up to 2 buttons. So it's a great solution to be able to connect and do what you need to do there. Go ahead.
I'll just interject. We got a crowd question.
Please.
So it's understood. I think you got the point across that all these things are compatible with and work with Teams and Zoom and all these other platforms. One of the questions is asking is if this is officially certified with Teams yet, or if you're going through that process. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, we're actually looking into that process. Teams, Microsoft is a little bit harder to work with, obviously, because really what Toggle does is it allows people to use other platforms, which Microsoft doesn't tend to like. It obviously gives people the capability of using other product like Zoom and WebEx and other different platforms on the market. So they're not super eager to certify product like this, but we are working with them pretty regularly. We have regular cadences with them, and we're trying to evolve that process a little bit to bring that team certification home. But it is something that we are working on, yes.
Awesome. I appreciate you addressing that and really explaining kind of the difference of, the compatibility versus the certified is a conversation that, will Microsoft support another manufacturer's product? That's what their certified stamp really tells you as a systems integrator and end user, is that if you have a problem with this, you can also take it up with Microsoft. In this case, this product has been tested and utilized in a lot of Microsoft Teams Room systems. So, when Inogeni and we tell you that it's compatible, you can rely on that and certainly understand that we are still here to support that, right? Which is
100%. Yeah, that's a great point. Absolutely.
Awesome. Back to the BYOD. I didn't mean to step in.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I appreciate that. So BYOD, this is just a quick diagram that shows how that works in terms of connecting a laptop, sharing content. Like I mentioned earlier, when you walk in and you plug in that device, either using USB-C or our legacy ports. By legacy, I mean our USB-B and HDMI ports that are also on the back. When you utilize those connections, that content from your device is automatically routed to the output of the device for the share out, so that when you walk into a room, you connect up your Teams call and you hit that share button. You don't have to worry about additional steps on your laptop to make sure that signal is output, it's ready to go. So very, very important that we have that. There's also an option for a second display. That second display would connect directly to the room PC and not Toggle Rooms. It's important people understand that, but it is an option as well.
You beat us to the punch on that. Stephen Ehrman came in and asked about being able to utilize this with a second display. So can we just back up to that slide?
Yeah, absolutely.
Real quick, just to clarify. So this can work with a second display. in this kind of a configuration. I would say to Tim or anybody who's asking about this, certainly get with us when you're working on your designs, and we can work with Inogeni to make sure that the design that you're putting out into the field will be one that's going to work and function as you expect it to. So
absolutely. And we've had a lot of feedback about a device that supports dual displays from the device itself. So I anticipate that we may have something exciting to share about that a little bit further down the road. But it is something that we're looking at. As of today, that option for the second display is a requirement to connect to a room PC, like your Teams or Zoom room. We're not handling that connection, but it is possible. So just wanted people to be aware that that's an option.
Awesome.
Yeah, BYOM, very, very similar here in terms of what we're doing, other than we're basically taking over all of the peripherals in the room. So hence that, one cable to control the room. You walk in, you plug in that USB-C from your laptop or the legacy ports if you need them, and you can immediately share your content out to the display, as well as take over the peripherals in the room, so that when you start that call, you're ready to go. You've got everything that you need. You're queued up and ready to go. So it's very important that we have that as simple as possible, and we've done that through Toggle Rooms. These are the connections, and these are kind of important to talk about from left to right, because there is some kind of added functionality or added benefits or value to this that a lot of people aren't aware of. But Toggle Rooms, across the top, you've got the front of the device. There's a button on the left that says laptop hosts the meeting. When you press that button, it will turn orange, indicating that the laptop is hosting the meeting. Then you've got some power indicators there as well. Below that, you've got a 24-volt DC connection for your power supply. It is a 100-watt power supply, as I mentioned. What's also important to note with Toggle Rooms is that the mounts for that power supply and also for Toggle Rooms ship with the device. So all of the mounting hardware, everything's included right off the bat. You purchase it and it all comes in one box. The only thing that's optional and as an accessory is the button. The USB-C connection, again, 100 watts charging. You've got legacy ports there. And we may bring this up on a later slide, but we talked about Barco. A lot of people love the Barco wireless solution. So we've had a lot of customers ask, and you can use that legacy connection for a Barco ClickShare. So you've got a Barco ClickShare connected to the host laptop connection for legacy devices. You've got wireless capability for your conference room. You also have a host room PC connection to connect that Teams or Zoom room up. And realistically, all three of these are separate, distinct inputs. So you can trigger those via our API from a control system, or configure the Toggle Rooms to switch between each of those different inputs. So even though it's really, a 2-input switcher, you can technically do up to 3 inputs on that.
Getting sneaky with that, so we can really flex this beyond what we might initially think. We've got some great questions coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for pumping those into us. We'll make sure those get addressed. I want to start real quick. This is a little more of a general one, but Frank has asked if these diagrams are available on the website per product, or maybe some of them, if you can just speak to that a little bit.
Absolutely. We have diagrams for the actual schematic for the line diagrams and the inputs and outputs, as well as application scenarios. So with various different product that's on the market, very specific, to devices. MaxHub is one that's a real popular one that we're seeing a lot of traction behind because they've gotten a lot of push from Microsoft. So we've got diagrams for these that show how our devices connect and how they would interact from a signal flow perspective. And all of those are available at inogeni.com. If there's anything that we're missing, obviously you can reach out to me directly or through Mott's, and we can get you anything additional that you might need there. But most of that is on the website, including those application diagrams.
Awesome. We do have a couple more questions, and one of them I think fits right in here, kind of based on what you're talking about. Christopher was asking about supported cables, and specifically asked, is there any recommended or certified cables that you're using for the host device here, or just want to make sure that they follow certain protocols, or what's your advice for people when choosing cables to work with these systems?
Absolutely. So that's the beauty of Toggle Rooms, is that we ship the device with all of the cables necessary. We ship it with a 2-meter cable for USB-C. And the reason that we do that is because obviously that 2-meter cable supports up to 100 watts of power. You can't extend beyond that. You can go up to 10 meters using some third-party cables. We've got a list on our website of compatible cables that we've tested to ensure that our product works with it. Keeping in mind, though, that if you pass that 2-meter length, just simply due to the technology, that signal or that power drops from 100 watts to 60 watts. So keep that in mind. If you need that 60 watts, it's best to maintain that 2-meter charging length.
That's certainly an important distinction to call out. So thanks, Christopher, for the question, and I appreciate the answer there, Ryan.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, picking up kind of on connections, we do support up to 3 USB 3.0 peripherals. Those ports are backwards compatible to USB 2.0. There's an HDMI display out that goes to the display in the room. It's important to note that we also support 21x9 from Microsoft Teams Front Row. So we do support 21x9 up to 5K 30 and also 4K 60. So both of those output formats are compatible. And then the HDMI share out would connect up to your room PC connection. There's a couple of diagrams here that we'll go through very quickly. I don't want to stop on each one, but these are available via our website, as I mentioned. These just show some of the popular systems on the market that we're compatible with and we've done testing with to ensure that it's compatible and that it works, per their specifications. Crestron, obviously, Lenovo has got a couple of different systems that we've tested. We've worked very closely with Lenovo. We even bundle some hardware with some of the Lenovo systems that are out on the market as well. Logitech Rally, that's an important one as well for the Nook and Logitech Tap controller. The Logitech Rally. So again, just some application diagrams. I don't want to stop and waste a ton of people's time on this because these are available on the website. But it's important to know that we've tested these devices and we've ensured compatibility to make sure that these all work. This one I do want to stop on because this is, as I mentioned, that Barco application. Because Starin's a partner with Barco, we want to make sure that we highlight this. It's really important, again, for our partnership with Barco to be sure that we're compatible with them. One thing that's unique about the Barco ClickShare CX50 on the new version is that if you connect that to the USB-C connection, we can actually power that device over that 100-watt charging connection. So just something that's kind of a cool feature. Utilizing that USB-C with 100 watts, you can connect and charge or power that Barco ClickShare device. So yeah, there's a diagram that shows out there.
Love to see that Barco ClickShare. I mean, obviously a Starin brand that we carry and support quite a bit, and one of the more popular wireless sharing products in the market today. So love to see the flexibility with that. We've got a lot of questions popping off. You mentioned the compatibility, and I guess I just want to shout out to John for bringing it up. John Waldron mentioned that they have had such a great experience with Inogeni, been using the toggle room since it came out, including no issues with Microsoft and that thing working greatly. So thank you, John, for sharing that.
That's
Adrian great. Dowdy also says they've been using Inogeni products for quite a while and that they work real well. So just a statement to the reliability and robustness of the products. I do have one question that came in. Let me see if I can find this one. All the great questions. I'm getting lost in them a little bit, you guys. So somebody had asked particularly about, what was it? Where is it? The drawing. So the drawing showed a host PC and you had a drawing a couple slides back that showed a host PC and 2 laptops, right? And we just don't want to make any assumptions that one. Can we do 2 host PCs and a BYOM
Absolutely.
laptop?
That's a great question. So we have people that use dedicated Teams and Zoom rooms in the same room. You can connect 2 host PCs to the laptop connection for the legacy ports as well as the room PC, and also have that USB-C. And when you do that, when you switch between the various different devices, we will switch all of the peripherals back to those devices. So great question. It's a great point to bring up because we do have a lot of use cases out there where there are organizations that want a dedicated Zoom room or a dedicated Teams room, both in the same room, but then also the capability or flexibility rather to bring your laptop to do your own solution. So great question.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, great question. Thank you guys for sharing. Keep them coming. We've got some stacked up here, but let's keep moving through the content right now, and I'll drop them in where they make some sense for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Fast forward a few
slides.
Where'd we pull
us away from? There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, these are some of the different systems that we've worked with, the most popular ones that are on the market. But again, to your point earlier, the question, if we work with other manufacturers, we're absolutely willing and happy to do that. So if there's any systems that we're missing here, or other devices. One thing that a lot of people don't realize is they think of these systems as, an in-room PC system, but we also do support Microsoft Teams on Android devices, as well as Zoom rooms on Android. So we do support those platforms as well, and we've done extensive testing with those also. So just something to keep in mind. It doesn't necessarily have to be an in-room Teams or Zoom room, like a room PC type system.
Just so I understood that correctly, which Android platforms do you support? Was it both or just one of those two?
Both. Yeah, both. So devices that support either platform, they work quite well.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, obviously there's plenty of rooms out there that don't have a PC as the backbone and a lot of Android devices. So that's awesome. Thank you for the
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, this is a slide that brings up and shows some of the different cables that we've tested and supported. So just to kind of bring that up and answer that question previously, these are some cables that we have tested. Again, supports all the features that you need, with the exception that you really got to keep in mind if you want that 100 watts of power charging, to stick with the 2-meter cable that comes in the box. So that's really it on toggle rooms. Is there any other questions on toggle rooms while we're here? Or if not, we can dive into our camera switching and kind of go from there.
There one question which I think is going to apply not just to toggle rooms, but to all these products as well, is if there's any recommendations for maximum USB length cables for cameras and microphones. Are you just going to say, follow the standards, or what's kind
follow
of
the standards? Yeah, again, if you do need USB 2.0 extension, we do have USB 2.0 extenders that are readily available. But yeah, it's definitely an important question to ask. So
awesome. There was one more. Let me get in there from Brandon. Let me see here. Brandon has a site where they need to replace an AMX switching solution, but the USB peripherals at the display are 65 feet away. Is there any recommendations for USB 3.0 extension? We mentioned, obviously, Inogeni has a solution for USB 2.0 extension with the UBRIDGE. Is there any kind of 3.0 extension, or just your favorite flavors?
Yeah, we do have some that are coming to the market a little bit later this year for USB 3.0. Nothing that's currently on the on the list necessarily, but we do support the various different options that are out there. From, I believe, Icron makes some good ones today as well. But there's a couple of different options that are out there. So
awesome! Thank you so much for that. I was just your webcam died and it looks like it's coming back. All right, good catch. We have an anonymous question asking about the switching. Let me pull this up. What do they say? Can you elaborate on how the auto switching between the host PC and laptop is activated without the use of the button or a third-party control system?
Absolutely. So it is configurable. You can go into toggle rooms and configure it for an automatic switch. The one thing I will point out there that you have to be careful of is we can detect 5 volts on that USB input. So keeping in mind, if you connect a laptop and you're in the middle of a Teams call, there are solutions that are on the market today that are only automatic, or configured automatic by default out of the box. And we've had a lot of customers that have come to us and said, hey, this solution from ABC company does this. And when they connect a laptop, it'll take over all the peripherals in the room. So something to keep in mind, you want to make sure that you're only using that USB-C connection to start, basically to start the meeting. And then you do have to keep in mind some configuration there. There is a button on the front of the toggle rooms device to manually switch that, but it is configurable. So within the settings of toggle rooms, you'll be able to go in and configure that for automatic switching. And while we're talking about that, it's a great point to bring up. We do have a new software that's coming called Maestro. In the past, we've had an original control application called the Inogeni control app. That will continue to work for our camera devices and also our USB converters, et cetera, that need it. But we will be switching over to that Maestro platform for all of our new devices in the future. So something to keep in mind. And Maestro will be shipping with toggle rooms, and that's how you would configure that feature, that capability.
You already knew I was going to ask about availability, so way to hit that in there. We have one other question, which I think is a good one, and I think may put us into the weeds a little bit. For those of us that have had to bump into this before, we know that the chipsets that are used in USB devices are often seen as hubs. or almost always, I don't want to say always, but almost always seen as hubs by the host machine. So Christopher asks how many, and I don't know if you guys know the answer to this one off the top of your head or not. If you don't, we can get Christopher an answer. But if you do, how many hubs does this put in the USB chain?
One hop. So toggle rooms only introduces one hop. Great question. It's important to understand that. That's typically where people get stuck out in the field, is connecting USB devices to multiple hubs or USB devices. And then they have devices that aren't functioning or working properly. So great question, but toggle rooms only introduces one hop or one USB tier.
Good to know. Yeah. And that is, as somebody who works on the, the pre and post sale support, that's a question I've run into quite a few times with folks in the field, stumbling with stuff is how that USB chain kind of works. So
Absolutely.
appreciate that. Awesome question, folks. Keep them coming. We've got a couple other, but I want to keep going before we dive in, and we'll put them where they need to be. So camera switching is a huge focus for Inogeni, and honestly, where our business with Inogeni started. So I think it's important that we get to this.
Absolutely. Yeah, Inogeni's got a lot of different options for multi-camera switching. One of the big things that you hear out, the buzzwords that you hear, is meeting equity. Our devices provide for that and provide a solution for that. But also great for just bringing content in and being able to do some basic kind of broadcast production, if you will, within a room. These are very popular devices. This is our entire product lineup. From the Share 2, Share 2U, Cam 300, Cam 230, and our remote device. We've got solutions to be able to either mix and switch devices or just simply select a camera. While we're on this page, though, this remote is a very popular device. For our first three product on the left, the Share 2, Share 2U, and Cam 300, all of those devices do have the capability of supporting remote, what we call it, which is essentially a dummy box. It has the connections on the front for being able to switch between the different inputs. But it's great for applications like higher ed or courtrooms where somebody wants to be able to control the system, but you don't want them messing with the connections on the back. So it's a great device for that. We'll jump right into the Share 2U. So the Share 2U is arguably our most popular device. It's been around for a few years now. It allows you to mix signals on screen or basically do multi-viewing. So you can do full camera 1 or 2 from the inputs, also do picture-in-picture and move that picture-in-picture around on screen. You can do a side-by-side picture or side-by-side images. So again, that meeting equity requirement that so many people are asking about, or a big and small image. So if you've got content on screen and you want to be able to show content, maybe a video window for the presenter, you can definitely do that with the Share 2U. Very popular in lecture rooms, higher ed, but also in courtrooms. Really a great solution for being able to show the audience and also your presenter. So a really elegant solution, and does have a full API for that to be able to tie that into a Crestron or AMX system, et cetera. This is a diagram that kind of shows those connections, how that would work with a toggle rooms deployment. People ask that a lot. Hey, we'd love to be able to use your Share 2U product, but tie that into toggle rooms. You can absolutely do that. So you can bring in multiple cameras to the Share 2U, connect that up to the USB inputs on the back of the toggle rooms. Keeping in mind that important question, this does utilize 2 USB tiers. So just make sure that you keep that in mind in your design or your application, making sure that you're not exceeding the maximum number of USB tiers. And then this is a great diagram that shows a Barco click share with the Share 2U. So really a lot of flexibility. The toggle rooms does allow us to be more of a platform with this device and really the center of the room in terms of what you're doing with that conference room, but really a great solution. The Cam 230 I'll bring up. We love the Cam 230. It's a fairly new product for us. It's been around about 1.5 years, 2 years. But what's great about the Cam 230, it's a camera selector. Utilizes 3 inputs, 2 of those being USB 3.0 and 1 of those being an HDMI. But a great application, especially for that lower cost requirement. It's really meant to be more of an installed product, and because it's meant to be installed, it does support PoE power. It's the first device in our family of devices in Inogeni that supports PoE for power. So, great for those applications where you need to be able to, put it behind a display and you don't want to add an additional wall power supply, wall wart, et cetera. Just a really, really simple device to be able to plug that in for PoE and give you that camera switching capability. And we're partnered with a lot of different manufacturers on this for automation as well, like Nariva. We're working with a couple of the microphone manufacturers that are out there as well to kind of enhance that capability that they have, utilizing their technology to basically make the Cam 230 an automated switcher or broadcast switcher for those conference room applications.
Awesome solutions. Again, I'll mention, this is really kind of where we started with Inogeni, and a product that was real popular for us. Multi-camera scenarios are everywhere right now. Everybody really wants to know, how can I get a couple of angles? Certainly in classrooms and lecture halls where you're focusing on an instructor, but also want to get back to the audience for a Q&A. But even more so, we're seeing a lot of applications in boardrooms, especially high-end C-suites, where they want a couple of angles to be able to make their meetings a little more engaging and a little more of a production instead of just a single PTZ grabbing everyone in the room. So these are great solutions to do that, and utilizing the remote with the other solutions makes that really easy in education. So appreciate you showing this to us. We've got a couple of minutes here, guys. We got through pretty much most of the questions here. There's another one popping up that I'm going to dip in real quick. Clay is asking, can your switchers be used with sources other than cameras?
Absolutely. So the HDMI inputs definitely support content if you want to be able to plug in a laptop for content. Do keep in mind, however, those connections, you can't plug in like a Blu-ray player, obviously. We do have HDCP support for some of these devices with a custom firmware, but obviously we're trying to make sure that people aren't connecting devices like a Blu-ray player or something that does require HDCP, but you can connect content up there for a laptop and be able to share content into a call. Absolutely. Great question.
Awesome. Yeah, we got to follow the law. It's a non-negotiable, folks. It's a non-starter, but that lets us know that we can pretty much open ourselves up then to a lot of different devices that are enabled with this type of transport, be it HDMI
Absolutely.
or otherwise. So great question. I was just going to say, where can the folks find you guys? Let's pop that up on the screen right here. So there's contact details for the Inogeni team. Again, Mats, thanks so much for facilitating this and putting it together. JP, I really appreciate you guys and the effort. Ryan, for presenting. For the folks out in the audience, I want to thank you all so much for all the wonderful questions. Here's your contact for Inogeni. If you have any remaining questions, please go ahead and dump them in right now. And real quick, I want to see who we picked for the winner. There was a random drawing for the gift card, and it looks like Stephen Erdman. I don't want to mess that up. So Stephen, our team will get in touch with you after the fact to make sure that you get that reward. I want to thank you all for participating. We've got one more question.
Go ahead with a question. I just want to finish off a little bit later on here when we can.
Yeah, so looking at ClickShare with the toggle rooms and the toggles, Christopher's asking if there are any specific settings or configurations that need to be considered, and if so, where we can find that information.
No, absolutely not. They're plug and play. So in terms of on our end, it's just really how you configure the device out of the box. If you're configuring it for multiple inputs, you can definitely do that. But there's nothing required in terms of settings or special drivers or anything like that on our device. Just plug it in and you're good to go. So
awesome. Well, it looks like that is all the questions we have. Again, I really want to thank the Inogeni team for being here, everyone in the audience for showing up and sharing some time with us. Certainly, if you have any feedback, questions, follow-up information you're looking for, we can make this PDF available to you, some of the slides that you've seen. Reach out to your Starin salesperson or visit us at starin.biz. Otherwise, please visit us next week for some time where we're sitting down and doing the similar thing with Logitech, and we will see you next time.